All right, this is the Drew Experience, the show that's 80% combat sports and 20% everything else. I have some returnees today, backed by extremely popular demand. It was in a lot of work went into this. But before I introduce them, I just want to say this show is brought to you by Forever the Student, by Sensei Patrick Pinto, where he picks the brains. I screwed up there. He picks the brains of the greatest minds in Kyokushin karate and other martial arts. Available online. It's an ebook, so whoever listens, Patrick will give a free copy to random listeners to help grow and raise the level of Kyokushin karate and martial arts in general. And with that, I'm going to go with the introduction here. So today, with the next big announcement. So I have these two on individually, separately. They're very accomplished senseis, and they're the definition of what senseis should be. You could call them by their first name outside of the dojo and not sensei outside, because that's kind of stupid if you ask me, but to each their own. But this is why I love them, and I'm always going to have them on whenever they want to come on. Today, I'm joined by the two founders of KRT on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. They are Sensei Darren Stringer and Wesley Jansen. And with that, I want to thank Darren and Wesley for this, because next week I have the biggest announcement to make. He is one that no one really speaks of, but he deserves more credit for his accomplishments in European Kyokushin karate. He has the story that comes out of a movie with what he's accomplished, what he's been through to get to where he is. I am very proud to announce that Xian Felix, how do you say his last name?
Tumaza.
Tamaza?
Yeah, it's a silent.
Xian Felix Tizama will be coming on the Drew Experience on February 7th to give a documented conversation about his life. And it's something that I want to credit you two with for really helping. And, people got to know the focus of the show is not to give the spotlight to only a certain few individuals. We want to, our goal, whether it's with KRT, the Drew Experience, Straight Talk with Terry Burkett's show with Scott, we got to bring out give spotlight to the greats like Felix, amongst others, who are going to be coming on. So Felix is coming on. He was the John Jones of Kyokushin before others who have taken the heavyweight title, that claim. But Felix is a great. He deserves credit, and I'm very excited to have him on.
It's going to be a good talk, man.
Yeah, I like Felix a lot. He was actually one of my first instructors, and as you say, he's great. His record is incredible. He's a really humble and nice guy, and he's got a fantastic background as well.
He's one of the most humble Shians I know. He would never take any shine of the fighters and their accomplishments. He's like, the people know me for who I am, not for what you guys are doing right now. But yeah, he's amazing. Extremely cool guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like super, like I could talk, and I knew he was a cool guy the minute he said, I'm a John Jones fan. He's like, I'm a John Jones fan all day. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, it's like I have people that are appreciating Bones Jones. And he's like, I don't condone what he does outside, but I don't pay attention to that. It's what he does inside the cage that I care about. So yeah. But yeah, guys, great to have you guys both on. So KRT, you guys have been killing it, bringing people together. It's just the momentum's growing. You're bringing people from outside of other organizations. So where did the idea start?
Yeah, before we go, I think we've got to mention something, because something happened last week where we were very proud of one of the students, and we're not sure. We don't even know how many sessions we did, but one of the students made a recognizable 100 sessions. So Damon Collins from he's Wimbledon, isn't he?
Yeah,
Wimbledon dojo. Yeah, so Henshi's dojo. He's been in our class for already 100 times. How cool is that? And how cool is it that people really like they keep the score, they count the sessions they're doing?
It's incredible, because everyone keeps asking us when they're like, oh yeah, I've done 50, I've done 100, like, how many sessions have you done? And we're like, we haven't actually kept track, because at one point we were doing 5-6 sessions a week, and now we're down to 2 because things kind of went back to normality, and yeah, I mean, big props to all of them people that support us, because we can do all the stuff that we want to do if no one's there to, you know, support and join in, then it's pointless. So it's as much as for everybody else as it is for our benefit.
Yeah, true. And then to come back to your question, because obviously, how did it started? It's quite funny actually, because we've been talking about this quite a lot, and the idea came up out of nothing. You know, we all came into the like annoying situation COVID is, and we've already been discussing like how can we teach together a little bit more. And well, Darren came over to my place quite a lot. I came over to Darren's place quite a lot, and every time we were together, we're just training and having fun. And it was like, maybe we should just, you know, share some ideas, share some visions with the people in how we do this. And then COVID came along and everybody was locked down. It was like, all right, let's start off with some ideas. And we made some funny movies where we, you know, skipped into each other's backyards and did some techniques. And eventually it was like, after a few weeks, we were like, why wouldn't we just combine a session online? And that's where it really all started.
Incredible. Yeah, you guys have done a better job of making unity than some of the actual organizations. Like, you guys stepped it up actually and did it, where some were calling for unity, but they didn't execute on it properly. But yeah. And so did it start on TikTok first or Instagram? Like, what was the first platform you guys decided to put all this content on?
First of all, we were on Facebook. First of all, we were just sharing from our own platforms, to be fair. We should probably get a platform of its own. You know, KRT was building momentum. People were liking it a lot. You know, and we started off on Facebook, and then we had a really big problem with Instagram getting an account, because every time we tried to use the email address, it said the email address was taken, and then when we tried to use the username, it said that was taken as well. And we were like, well, how can it be taken? Because we haven't done it. So we had to complain to Instagram, and then eventually they gave us back, which is the new version, because otherwise we were sharing from our own platforms, and TikTok is the latest area that we're on.
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah, because of Sammy. Let's give him a shout out as well.
Sammy from One Kyokushin. Oh yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, guys, follow One Kyokushin. Follow One Kyokushin. Every platform, One Kyokushin. That's number one Kyokushin. I want that man. He is the real reason why, like, another reason why Kyokushin is also has the bar being raised. So One Kyokushin for the 5th time. Follow it.
Yeah, he supported us a lot, really, hasn't he?
Yeah, very supportive. And then he was like, why aren't you guys? Because obviously we started off on Facebook, then went to Instagram, started to upload a lot of the videos, or like all of the videos on YouTube, to get some more momentum, and obviously for people as well to, you know, not everyone can follow the session live, so why not share it? Because there's no secret in what we do. And then it was like, you guys should be on TikTok. And obviously Darren and myself already talked about it with my wife, Darren's wife, and like, you know, thinking about how are we gonna do this, because we both we haven't got a clue how to do this. You know, it's just like we're just all laughing games, we're just making fun. Yeah, and it was like, all right, should we do this as well? But then obviously we just did it.
We went ahead with it. Yeah. I mean, we probably don't dedicate as much time as to our media profile as we perhaps should do, but it's trying to fit everything in. You know, I mean, our main objective, and as you said at the beginning, is to bring a lot of people together, give them an opportunity to train in such a crappy environment, really. And we're not really interested in kind of praise or which organisation they're from. You know, if we can give something to them, fantastic. Even if it's a good workout, or, you know, if they learn as well, and then, hey, it's even better, because at the end of the day, I think Kyokushin should be on the map a lot better than what it is. And we can all achieve that together, regardless of where we're from, what organisation, who you are, whether you're a name or just in the game. You know, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely agree. I mean, like we have guys like you. There's you guys as mentioned. There's Sammy. There's um, Scott, Terry Burkett now. Like they're working together. Pat. I guess to a degree, my show, but I mean, I'm not there yet. Like I'm not. I don't have the like I don't have the what's the word the back not the accolades to say that yeah I'm up there, but I will be.
You get
And
fast, you're building momentum really quickly. To be fair, you know, I think you would maybe the last one to kind of come out with the podcasts, but you know, Pat's. I mean, we've been on all of the shows. To be fair, yourself, Pat, and Scott, and we love them all. You know, Scott is a really nice guy. I've actually met him in Canada as well. Pat, he was awesome. I mean, he was like, can we call you the KRT lads? Like, yeah, man, you can call us what we want. You know, we're just people. We're just
Hmm.
people.
yeah, Pat's like really been supportive. Like he's like, you ever need it? He's like, listen, mate. He's like, you ever need anything? After that post I did about battling mental illness, he's like, you ever need anything? I'm always here. Don't just reach out. And I'm like, thanks, Pat. Appreciate it. Like coming from him, like I really, really appreciate that. And it's like, he's had the who's. He's had Sam Greco on. He's had Judd Reed, and yeah, like there are some
Yeah,
legends. Like so,
he had a few proper names here in there. It's like really, really, really cool that a lot of people like support this as well. And that's what I like about these podcasts as well. I don't really care who I'm talking to, as long as I can talk about Kyokushin, KRT, friendships and stuff like that. And I'm all fun and games with that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. So, obviously I want to make this show too. We want to talk about like a mix of KRT, a mix of friendships, and like greatest fights we've seen, whether it's in Kyokushin, MMA, or boxing. So yeah, that's how I've structured this show today, baby. And let's kick it off with I had Misha Zimmerman on,
Yeah,
and he is the GOAT of North American lightweight Kyokushin. I don't care what anybody says. So like, it's like, listen, do I sound a bit biased? Yes, but what Zimmerman accomplished in Canada is like, it's like, and he left at the top. Like he is the one that can say, he's like, I left at the top. Like you watched the episode, I'm sure, and he detailed everything. Um, he fought some of the who's in Europe, a guy such as Renee Stichter. Did you guys ever remember that fight? Because apparently it was in 2001, and it's considered one of the greatest fights in European Kyokushin.
yeah, they're both quality fighters as well. To be fair, so I'm not surprised it's is remembered by people.
Yeah.
Misha's a nice guy as well, and Renee. They're both cool guys, aren't they? I mean, I know them both, fortunately. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I know Renee very good. Misha just by name and from the tournaments. But yeah, always a really good fan. And it's very funny. He fought a guy in the '05 when he was a middleweight, and he fought a guy in the '05 World Championship in Crystal Palace,
yeah,
where Darren fought as well. And the guy was from the Dutch team, and he got dropped by Misha, and he was like, this guy, this is probably one of the hardest hitters I've ever fought. He got dropped on liver shots, and then he came off the mat, and he was like, he felt nauseous the rest of the day because of the punches of Misha, and obviously the guy was hitting extremely hard.
That liver shot, man. Yeah, there was him. But the thing is though, because like back then, now it's not like where we have before with all the travel being as accessible. 2005 is still kind of hard, kind of
yeah.
the pre-internet, even though the internet was around. So do you feel like if we had like social media back then, like we did today, do you think it would have been like much more easier to give these guys like the credibility they deserve, like Renee, Misha? Who are some others that you guys can name that people should know about, from whether they're Dutch in Europe in general? Like that's what I want to know.
There's loads, but
Yeah.
it would have been good if there was like, if these things were there back in the day. And then I mean back in the day, like early '90s, early 2000s, it would have been, I think karate and Kyokushin would have been a lot wider than it is right now. Because there, every era has got its names, and there's been a lot of good lightweights, there's been a lot of good middleweights, there's been a lot of good heavyweights, and fighters in general who are not as known, just because they lived in the pre-era of the internet.
Yeah, it's true, and you know, it's very accessible now with all the videos going on YouTube, and you know, obviously Facebook, and you get these live streams and some clowns doing Zoom sessions as well. You know? But no, I mean, you know, if you go back to early 2000s, not much was publicized. Kyokushin was probably a little bit not a low point, but it wasn't very well publicized. And I think that's our fault as Kyokushinkai karatekas, to be fair, because it's always been instilled that, you know, people kind of come to our dojos, people come to us. We and it was societized kind of ideology, I suppose, that people come to train with me. I don't go to other people, and unfortunately, the world did change rather dramatically in that faction, you know, and we didn't probably take advantage of it as much as what we should do. And
I definitely agree.
now we're catching up.
I definitely agree. It's like, you know, there's a saying that Eckhart Tolle has, like, what you think you're hiding, what the world is hiding from you, maybe you're hiding from them. And I think that holds very true with Kyokushin. Like, maybe we have try to be like kind of like the exclusive, you know, there's like a tradition, like that tradition, you know, when you come in, it's like special, but maybe we need to bring it out more. Maybe we need to really show, because look at what Brazilian jiu-jitsu's done, or Muay Thai, like, you know, like it's like and
I always looked at
saddens
it
me.
that way. Yeah, I always looked at it that way, because to be fair, not everybody in Kyokushin will be a high elite fighter. Not everybody in whatever sports will make it to the Olympic team. You know what I mean? But you gotta like spread the view of Kyokushin to get as much attention, so you can actually build a higher elite level team or an Olympic team. And yes, that's what we did wrong with karate. And that's a lot of. I'm not saying it's, you know, it's the fault of the like the older generation, but I honestly believe we should have picked the momentum in the early 2000s to really use the internet to be a little less humble as you'd like to, you know, what a lot of people are. And sometimes it's just good to say, listen guys, the thing we do is awesome, the thing we do is great, you will get better, you will get stronger, you will get disciplined, you will, you know, all of the benefits Kyokushin karate gives to you, and then just spread the word, bring it out, because in that way you're gonna get a lot of more followers, and a lot of, you know, that's what you want to do.
And you have like a guy like George St. Pierre. I mean, the reason why Kyokushin in Canada is so popular is because, especially in Quebec, say it like that, because it's because of George's influence, because he does have a karate background. And when you talk to any francophone or anglophone in Quebec, why'd you do Kyokushin? George St. Pierre. I mean, look, he didn't really use Kyokushin much as his base until, you know what? He went back to it during the Bisping fight. That's where he used it. And he even said, he's like, oh yeah, I went back to my karate base, because he realized he didn't need his Muay Thai base. And it works. I mean, you know, Kyokushin works. I think it can be transitioned well into mixed martial arts with good boxing and wrestling.
Yeah. If you look at the time, like when in the K1, when a lot of the Kyokushin fighters came up, you know, it looked like Andy Hug, Globe Fightosa, Filio,
Mike Bernardo,
Filio, Mike Bernardo, Sam Greco. You know, a lot of people. There's probably a lot more who we forgot to mention, but they brought a lot of excitement. You know what I mean? A lot of excitement. They changed the game, and you know, a great boxer will always win the fight in kickboxing. But you know, it's exciting, extremely exciting.
What was the payday like for those fighters back in the day? Like, I mean, it's not like, if you don't take into account inflation, what do you think they were getting? Like, was it good payments probably, or?
I think it was reasonable. I mean, it was massive at one point, K1, wasn't it? I mean, if you think the Grand Prix was packed out with loads of people, and sometimes it was going on TV as well. You know, and listen, you know, what happens in Japan is a lot different to what happens in the rest of the world. You know, you turn up to tournaments in Japan, and sometimes you've got 17,000 people in the stadium watching. You know, it's seriously a different ball game over there. I mean, Wesley's fought there. I've fought there. I've been lucky to fight there as well. I've been lucky to watch some really big tournaments there as well, and it's it's different. Yeah, it's published different. You know, not many published different. You know, not many people in Japan don't know about Kyokushin, and rightly so, to be fair.
So you're saying that they did, so that they do know or they don't know, just if I heard that correctly.
Yeah, they do. Not many people don't know. You know, if you go to anybody in the street and they're like, you've got a Kyokushin badge on you, they're like, yeah, we know what they're doing. You know, it's a style of karate. You know, everybody knows. You know, they've got a lot of dojos as well in Japan. You know, you think of the size of it, but they've got a lot of dojos.
Yeah. It's like it's very normal to have like a prefecture over there. It's like when you're a Shian, you're the head of a prefecture, and that's like that means you probably have like 8, 9, maybe 10 dojos under yourself, who in all sorts of places, in malls, in just like when you randomly walk the street, you will see a dojo in the street, which is amazing. And if you think about the how big it is in Japan, it's amazing. It's like really it's heaven to go there as a karateka. It's amazing.
It's like Mecca.
Yeah, it's Mecca. Yeah, definitely. It's karate Mecca, definitely. And if you think about like the paydays, 400,000 euros, because I think it was 1 million yen they could win, and it was like approximately 400,000 euros is a lot of money, but it's not in comparison if you think about this with UFC and boxing and stuff like that. But yeah, the paydays were pretty good. But then if you look at like a guy of semi-shield, by instance, in Holland, not a lot of people know who Semi is. He won the thing 4 times, and then obviously the glory one. So he has 5 world titles. In Holland, maybe 10,000 people know who he is. In Japan, he can't go crossing the street in the normal way, you know what I mean? So that's the difference, you know. Everybody in Japan knows Darren Stringer. No, that's a joke, but you know, it's like but yeah, it's such a big difference, you know, like superstars, Ernesto Host, Peter Arts, Semi, those guys, they even Gerard Gordeau, the people, they can't walk the street normally there, because, you know, everybody's like, oh, autograph. Plus, these guys are like flat buildings that tall. You know, we're just small guys in front of them. But then, if they walk in Tokyo Center Station, you know, they can look over all of the people, because they're probably the biggest there.
Yeah, Gerard's like a 6'9" figure. Like he's like it's like Godzilla man over there. He's like He's
big, yeah, but about 2 meters.
6'9". He's definitely not 6'9", but I get your point. It feels like it when he's next to me.
He's very, and he's like, like, just to like re-say that story. That was the best story I ever heard. Where like, what's Gerard like as a person? It's like he's like the most humble guy ever. Like, where it's like he wore the tracksuit. Like, you know, you have guys like Hoist Gracie or like former fighters like it's the guy with the one boxing glove, Jimmerman, or Arts Jimmerman or something, or that was his name, Art Jimerson. That's it. They're wearing suits, and then you used to see Gerard showing up in a tracksuit, like no F's given.
Yeah, I mean, we was at a ball with him in Hungary, and he just turned up in a zip-up hoodie and a pair of jeans, and there we were in some flashy suit and stuff, you know, ready to go out and have a good time. But
we look stronger. Yeah.
Yeah, what do I want to dress up for? I don't like dressing up. I like wearing this, you know. So they do.
Yeah, it's cool.
Does he have like any like good fighters like under his association? Because I mean, he's like his own branch chief, as we know. So I'm sure he must have some like, or is he more just into teaching Budo? Like, what's his?
He had a few. He had a few back in the day, like a few top guys. My old teacher, he was from the Kamakura dojo as well. And these guys were like bastards, you know, fighters. They went in for the kill always. And he, like, his last one is probably Samsonov, and he did a 100-man fight. I think it was last year, or maybe 2 years ago now.
I think it was.
Was it last year?
I think it might have been early last year, right? Because he couldn't have done too much during the year, because it was.
I think it was like in January, February of last year, just before the lockdown. And then he did 100 fights in the ring with a little bit of, you know, they can grab a little bit. That's what they have in the organization of IBK Gordo. And you know, he completed it, and he's been competing in Japan, and he's been competing all over the world. But that's probably that's probably the biggest name of their association at this time. He's a really cool guy as well. Not a big talker, a real fighter. I think he's a Navy SEAL in Holland as well. So yeah, he's a proper killer, that guy, as a heavyweight.
Yeah, he's done really good. It seems like his Kamakura doesn't get enough recognition, and it's really important that they do, because Gerard was the first ever fight in UFC 1, and not many people, like only the hardcores, know that. And I really wish, you know, he gets more, like there might be some like controversy there, but I mean, you can't deny the man is in one of the most important pieces. I think he is of the most important pieces of UFC and mixed martial arts history.
The only thing I really regret is that he was called on as a Safat kickboxer guy.
Yeah, I hate that. I don't know why.
That was just because he probably split off in that time from Kyokushin. He was doing a Yama karate by Shigeru Oyama, and you know, there was a little bit of things there in politics, and then they obviously announced him as a Safat fighter. While we all know he was like a big Kyokushin guy.
Yeah. There was and then later on he went on Sherdog when they did the 20th like anniversary, and he's like, and he started saying, like, they asked him like, why didn't you like come on as a Kyokushin? And he just said, he didn't go into it, but yeah, there is something there. I think he just didn't want to really, he just said like, oh, I was doing more Savat at the time and exploring. But back then, like, it's just crazy. Like, you know what I love about those old UFC videos? It's like, now, you know, like where the fighter walks out, they give their description, like where the other fights they have with their background a bit. Back then, it used to be like, "Hi, it's like, hi, I'm Darren Stringer, and I'm competing, and I'm from, and I fight out of the Crystal Palace Dojo. This is my first UFC, and I think I can win it because I got the heart of Britain, and my speed is what's gonna really give opponents trouble."
Sounds like a proper description there.
Yeah, he's almost egging me towards the UFC, isn't he?
Can't do it now, because back then, like, you had to go in front of like your own video camera. Like you watch it, like, the technology then, and it's like no Joe Rogan. It was like, it's like they had Rich Goins and then Michael Buffer at one point, then Bruce Buffer. Like, yeah. Great. How do you guys look at those Wild West days? Like, do you think they hold an importance in history for people to understand?
What, in terms of like wild fighters and like back in the more raw days? Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, I mean, we all know that every form of fighting arts have changed over the decades, and one decade is definitely different to the next. You know, Kyokushin started off very raw, very powerful. It was always, you know, the bigger man was going to win because that's the way that they fought. Muay Thai as well, you know, it's the same. Judo's, you know, it's evolved. UFC is definitely no different. You know, they had, you know, all you got to do is look at the physiques on people nowadays in UFC, and not many of them come out with an ounce of fat on them. You know, back in them days, I mean, who was it? There was a big, massive, almost sumo wrestler guy that was fighting in it as well, weren't he? I think Gordo may have fought. Gordo
fought the Tuli. I think his name is Tuli. Was it?
Halo Tuli.
Yeah.
New Zealand, weren't it? Is that the guy?
Yeah.
I mean,
he kicked his tooth out. The tooth was in Gerard's foot.
Yeah,
really cool.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard
he broke his foot, and that's when because he was then fighting one of the Gracie brothers in the final, and he couldn't kick properly anymore. He was busted up, and then obviously he lost the fight to Gracie, who rolled him up with the Brazilian jiu-jitsu and stuff. But yeah, it's like those were raw days, man. Like kicking and punching in the people in the face without gloves on and stuff like that.
Oh, mate, it was
brutal.
You wonder how they even got away with it back then.
It's crazy, isn't it? Well, I can remember because like in Holland, that's a very funny thing. I was like my aunt and my auntie. They am I saying that right? My uncle and my aunt. Yeah, that's what it is. They because of my uncle, I came into Kyokushin, and then they were always like really supportive and stuff like that. And then there was a time in Holland you had cage fighting and you had ring fighting, and then cage fighting was really raw and stuff like that, like in the UFC. And then I remember my aunt calling me up in the morning, like with this very serious voice and a private number. She's like, "Yeah, is this Wesley?" It's like, "Yeah, who am I speaking?" "Yeah, the organizer of Cage Wars and yada yada yada. We want you to fight." And I was like, "Oh my god, is this for real?" But then she was laughing, and obviously I heard. But that's what kind of what the feeling was about the Cage Wars and the UFC. It was that crazy heart, man. It's like street fighting.
Yeah, it was, because I mean, anything goes at one point. When I think you could kick to the groin in the early
headbutts and stuff like that.
Eye gouge, wear wrestling. Vitor Belfort wore wrestling shoes.
The only thing that weren't allowed, wasn't it? Eye gouging was the only thing that weren't allowed.
Yeah, you couldn't do eye pokes.
Yeah.
There was that fighter that got gouged out, and he was like blind, but he didn't say anything for decades. And to be honest, if he had said something, it was like one of the really early UFCs. UFC probably never would have been where it is now. No, if you turned around and said, I got blinded in this, they would have been like, this is going nowhere. So he did UFC a favour, to be fair.
Yeah. Probably got paid for it.
Yeah.
I gave him like a nice settlement, like, don't say shit. Don't say anything.
Here's 20 grand.
Here, back then, that becomes like 40 grand now with inflation probably. And those are the days, man. There's also, Semi even competed in UFC for a bit. Like, I don't know what his history was in UFC, but I mean, it was in the, I think there's like 3 eras. I look at the UFC as in 4 eras. You have the Wild West, Zuffa, which was built around Chuck and Tito, but you had guys like Semi competing, Randy. And then the tough GSP Anderson. I like to call it the golden era, where you had tough GSP Anderson, Chuck, Randy, Andrei Arlovsky. It was like a bunch of guys really pulling the promotion to help propel it. Then you have the Conor era from 2013 to 2016. And now I think it's kind of like, I like to call it the anti-hero. John Jones, like the anti-hero era. Coined that term off my friend Adam from Unanimous Decision. He's the one that came up with it, because now there's no more like heroes. It's like,
so this is a anti-hero show then.
Exactly.
So you invited me and Darren as
it's definitely an anti-hero show.
Yeah, and that's what I like about you guys, because like the thing is too, like it's like, okay, I'm gonna like, because there are some that like come off like they say they're shians and senseis, but they're not perfect. But then if you try to like talk to them outside, they still have that God complex, and it's got to stop. Like, it's really got to stop. Like, for example, I was one time. So I was with my Mohammed, like, you guys obviously, I always talk about my coach. Well, he's a Nidan, but he's basically a sensei without being a Sandan, but he's going to be a Sandan like very shortly. So Mo and I were out one time, and we saw a Shia, and Mo's in the bathroom. So I'm like, hey, how are you? Like, I gave him his first name. He's like, you don't call me, but he's like, you call me Shia. And I'm like, we're in a bar. We're outside. Like, the fuck, like.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
It's,
if you think about this, like, there's people who get the God complex, and then obviously I gotta tell the story, and I won't go into details, but then I remember, and I think you probably remember this summer camp as well, Darren. It was like it was the BKK summer camp, so it was the English summer camp, and I always went there because I really liked the summer camp, and we were like there with Darren, myself, a friend of us, Tom Silver, a few other friends, Anil, obviously he was there as well, and then we were brushing our teeth. And just before, I think it was before the morning session, and it's like we were like sleeping in complexes where you had shared bathrooms and stuff like that. And then Henshi walked in, and he was just like, talking randomly, and we were just all standing there, and he's like, he's really cool. And then he went to the toilet. while we were standing there, and he just kept on talking while he was on the toilet, and it's like, and then like we all like, you know, it's like the most normal like human stuff. He's like one of the guys. He's like, you know, not I'm Hanshy, you gotta leave the bathroom and stuff like that. He was just, you know, kept on talking to us whilst he was going to the toilet, and you know, that's what it's gotta be, man. That's what it's gotta be.
Yeah, he's so laid back and relaxed. He's great. I mean, he's one of a kind, really, in a lot of ways. Him, you know, he kind of really broke the mold of high grade and the hierarchy. You know, yeah, he's got a great aura about him. Massive respect for anyone who's ever met him, I think. But he doesn't really demand it. You know, yeah, he goes, but no one ever calls him by his name. Nobody.
No.
You know, even to be honest, even when I meet him outside, I still call him Hanshy, just because that's all I've ever called him.
But in my opinion, I think he would never correct you. So if you, Darren, would be there and you be like talking to him, he's like, so Steve, can I get you a cup of tea or stuff like that? He would never say,
no, I don't think so.
It's Hanshy for you. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. You get the respect when you earn it. You know what I mean? You don't. I would never, and Darren is the same. We would never be like, well, wait, no, you got to call me Sensei. I would never change my Facebook page into Sensei Wesley yada. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, we even might as well just talk about Ferry a little bit. Where Ferry is like he's a younger fighter from Holland.
Yeah. Been, great guy, Ferry Wortman.
Yeah, he's
big shout out to Ferry.
Yeah. We've had some great times with Ferry. So we went away to Hungary a couple of times for a camp, which Gordo was actually running with Shian Zolziger over there. And you know, even after in the lessons, okay, we understand there's kind of that hierarchy. We don't. It's not something we require to be acknowledged. But we're all sharing the room together, and he's like, Sensei, and I'm just sitting there, and he's like, Sensei Darren. And then Wesley's like, yo, Darren. And I'm like, what? He's like, I'm like, I'm not even acknowledging the fact that he's calling me, because he's calling me a sensei. I'm like, Ferry.
Remember, we're sitting there in boxer shorts only, you know? He's like, we're just chilling, you know, just like random talk, stuff like that. He's like, sensei this, sensei this. And at some point, we were like, we didn't even hear it anymore. And I was like, yo, Del. Ferry's wanting to ask you something, you know what I mean? And a great respect for him, because he really understands the hierarchy, and he's such a respectful guy, and like big props to him. But it's just the fact that the two of us, I'd rather hear Wesley or Wes than Sensei. Honestly, that Wesley is my name for 30 years. Sensei is a title.
Yeah, like I was talking with, she's coming on tomorrow night. So I don't know, you guys, we have a supporter. Shout out to DJ Bernardo Barile, like always supportive. He's like that guy. I love that guy. He's become like a friend to me, like always like messaging me, asking how I'm doing. You know, he's coming on tomorrow night with his sensei, Sensei Joanne Fournier, the first female sensei. So I messaged Joanne, and you just said, like, you know, I'm like, hi, sensei. She's like, I only put sensei on my Facebook page as a business thing for my dojo. Call me Joanne. She's like, I'm a person. She's like, I'm a person. And I'm like, are you sure? Yeah. She's like, what do I care? She's like, we're all human at the end of the day. And that's what I love about it. Yeah. Like, you know, and even her, the Shian she's under, Pierre Cataford, like I messaged him in French, cause you know, it's out of, cause I mean, like some in Quebec, there's some that have better French than English. It's not a big thing, you know. I'm able to communicate in both languages, as you guys could do you could do in Dutch and English. So I'm like, hey, Shian Pierre, and he's like, oh, he's like, in the dojo I'm Shian. He's like, outside it's like, just call me Pierre, okay? But on the show, he's like, if you can, he's like, and what I like, this is what I respected about him. He's like, because I said the door is always open to come on my show, and he's like, okay. He's like, if you can introduce me as Shian Pierre Cataford, I would appreciate that. I said, yeah, I'm like, no problem. And like, it's just for people, for like a business side. And I don't mind that, because he's asking, which shows the humility. And I think there needs to be more of that. Because in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you have like like Henzo Gracie, like you have people sitting next to him, whereas in Kyokushin, the Shian's like over here and the students are all there and you can't even come up. And in Jiu-Jitsu, you see like Hickson Gracie, Henzo sitting with their students, whether it's a white belt or a blue belt. And this is something that Mohammed, my coach, brought up very poignantly. And I think it's something that I think should change in Kyokushin. I really think, you know, it needs to change.
Yeah. I think, how did you find that in Japan, Darren? Because when I was there, it's like in Japan they still have that really big hierarchy stuff, but there's like a lot of Shihans who don't really like it. And then I was like, because I was there, and then I just went over to Shihan Tomoyuki Monma. He's really, really cool guy. He's like Japanese Elvis. But you know, he's like, I went there, and I was just, you know, like he was a normal person, and he gave me the same respect like I was a normal person, you know what I mean? And it's not like they always have to be like that. How did you find that, Darren?
Yeah. I mean, I think it depends a lot where you go, obviously. I mean, I spent a lot of time in Mashiro Keneko's dojo, for example. It's a very relaxed environment. You know, he's very, very friendly. He'll come over and talk to you. You know, if you go out for dinner, he's sitting with you, you know, and things like that. I went to Hiroshige's dojo. Again, really, really friendly. A little bit more formal, but still very, very friendly. Spoke to you even as like a foreigner that doesn't speak any Japanese. You know, it is difficult for some of the older generation because not all of them speak English at all, let alone very well. So that was quite cool. I trained with Midori and Masuda as well. You know, even though you knew that they were Shians, they were very, very friendly with you, sit with you, eat with you, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So I think in certain areas, I think probably Ike one are probably a little bit more in that regimented regime, but I think it's lapsing off a little bit, and the experiences I've had in Japan have been good. But I suppose we're fortunate enough to maybe pick where we go because we know a few people.
Yeah.
You know, if you just went into a dojo, you may not get the same experience.
Might be different. Yeah, it might be different.
Yeah, like some other examples were that I've come across where like they don't really use that hierarchy, like even outside. Like so two of them are Rene Cruz and USA, she and Rene Cruz of Ring Wars. Like I messaged him and he's like, hey, just call me Rene. He's like, just call me Rene. And also she and Tom Callahan. Like that guy is such a cool human being. Like I call him, it's like you guys with Hanshi, it's the same with me and Callahan. Like I just call him she and Tom, but if I called him like Tom or like just by his last name Callahan, he wouldn't go like he'll be like, oh yeah, it's like sure. It's like because he's got other projects. He's a successful businessman in the music business. He's got a lot of historical stories, you know, being born, like, you know, living through like different eras. And he's in Julie Lamar, you know, Sensei Julie Lamar. Like one time I saw her, okay, this is a funny story. So I didn't know who Julie was, okay? Like I knew of her by name. So one day, like I park my car outside, like where the gym is where I was training with Mo. She's like, hey, Andrew. I'm like, hey. She's like, you don't know who I am, do you? I'm like, maybe. She's like, I'm Julie. I'm like, oh, hey, Sensei. She's like, don't. She's like, I'm Julie. She's like, just Julie. And she's like, but good job on the show, by the way. Back in my old show when I had it, she's like, but good job on the show. And, you know, like, definitely, like, she wants to come on. It's just about timing. But yeah, like, it's just, you know, these are the minds that I want to give the exposure to because that's just going to raise the bar and make people say, like, you know what? I can do this martial arts. You know what? I like the community because Shihans and senseis, like these people we're all mentioning, they're the ones that are that show why the community is like what it is.
Yeah, I mean, the community is great in Kyokushin, obviously, because we've all been there for a long time. Yeah, there's always some diamonds in the rough, shall we say, or vice versa. But I think generally most of the people are pretty cool, you know. And what you need to realize in as you said earlier, there's a lot of people that are doing Kyokushin that just do Kyokushin. You know, they have no interest in fighting, they have no interest in competing. They just want to be a little bit more supple, a little bit stronger, and Kyokushin will give that to you. But you know, if we were to just build an organization or a foundation upon elite fighters, you'd only have a few of them, and that's the same with any sport. Okay, judo, boxing, they're all publicized, UFC, a lot more than you know, than the elite fighter, than karate. But all the elite fighters are just the pinnacle of that sword. And even I saw an advert the other day that Conor McGregor was getting 5 million for that fight the other day, and then one of the other guys was just getting like a couple of $100,000. So there's even that big divide in pay gap in there. But I think the background is made up of such a strong base of other people, you know, and that's
that's in these times it's really hard. What you said there is very very true. If you look at that, we you know, we need to think about the base of the people, because only from if you have 2,000 people, there's probably going to be a maximum of 5 really elite level fighters or elite level karateka. And I'm really proud because last week, I think, was it last week, when we had Shamima get into a KRT session.
Yeah.
So we had a complete starter.
She watched the last Saturday, and then she's actually joined this week.
Yeah. So we have a new karate student, and she started off karate for the things we just did, and she just, you know, she watched a few of the vids and a few of the sessions. She was like, "Oh, this is really cool. You know, I'd like to do this." She got some really good questions during the session and stuff like that. And they're really good that we in these hard times, we can create a base of new people getting into karate. I had two students. One of my students, like Martijn, he's a new guy, and he saw Cobra Kai, and he was like, "Yeah, I want to do karate." And then he, you know, like 5 or 6 years ago, he was in a high school where I teach karate, and he was like, after all of these years, he came back to me. He was like, "Oh, that was really cool. I had an injury on my knee back then, but now I really want to do this." And he's like extremely fanatic and stuff like that. And that's the base we want to build on, because you want to spread the word.
Because if everyone's coming through the door thinking, "Oh my God, I've got to be an elite athlete to even try this," we're going to get nobody. You turn into an elite fighter, you turn into an elite athlete. I mean, some people have a natural gene pool to just turn up and do some stuff, but nobody starts running 100 meters in 10 seconds just like that, straight away, without some training and things like that. And we need to give this across to people. Yeah, we've been very fortunate in careers. You know, we've done this, we've done that. Yep, very fortunate to be able to pass that on to other people. But not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody wants to make the sacrifices that we made to actually get to a level of being able to compete, for starters, let alone being successful. But, you know, an elite of five fighters in your organization isn't going to keep your dojo running, isn't going to keep you growing, and it definitely isn't going to fill your time up, because
everyone's different.
Yeah, everyone is different. Everyone's got different goals, different mentalities, different time frames. You know, someone wants to come in and he's like, "Yeah, I'm 45. I just want to start training. Just want to do this. Yeah, I'd like to do some pads and you know, live the next 20 years of my life in an active environment, so I can maybe get to retirement and still do some stuff."
Definitely. I mean, I started Kyokushin as a heavyweight. Like, I mean, I was weighing 215 pounds. I mean, you guys seen the post on Facebook. Like, yeah. I didn't catch that. What did you? I didn't catch that. What did you say there?
I started as a heavyweight as well. I was massive. Ask Sheehan Felix next week. Say, Darren was a big lad when he started karate down. He'll tell you. He'll tell you straight. I shrunk for this.
I can't wait. Yeah, no, like I was 215 pounds in my first tournament I ever did. I had no proper coaching. I had no training. I got 3rd place. I mean, it kind of felt like I didn't really. And I was like, "Oh, nice! I got 3rd place. Woo! I could do this." Then, my next tournament I did was I went down from 215 to 170 pounds within 8 months. But they put me up against one of Sensei Steve Fogarazzi's guys, Andrew, who's like a super heavyweight, because they didn't have enough people in my category. So it was like a really disorganized tournament. But I don't regret it. Like, I mean, I fought Andrew, and then that's when I met Mo, because then Mo looks at my video and he's like, "I think I can help you." He's like, "You got to look at a few things." He's like, "Because you could have beat this super heavyweight even at 170. And then I go under him, and I got 2nd place in my last tournament, as you guys saw. And Yeah, that was that. I almost won that fight. Like, I don't want to sound like Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite, like back in '82 or back in 2019. I could have won. No, like I just didn't know how to check the leg kicks from Vincent Michaud's guy Mathieu, and that's the truth. But like the guy made me a better fighter. But that was like the best fight I've ever been in. Like just like it's like I even watch it now, and then when people watch it, they're like. They now like I'm being compared to Nick Diaz of Kyokushin. When I show them the fight, they're like, you just keep coming and coming. And yeah, I mean, I'm a fighter. Like I'm not like a karate, like I'm a karateka in a sense, but I'm a fighter. Like I want wars to happen. When you watch me fight, there's gonna be wars. And when the kumites come back, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna announce it. I'm back, baby. I'm out of retirement. My hiatus. Drew's coming out of retirement. So yeah, I'm out. I'm
guys,
out.
I'm not out of retirement. Yeah.
I'm out. Like, I mean, it's time, I miss it. I love competing, and it just gives you that discipline. Like, it's like you hate doing the training when you have to wake up. You guys would understand, but it's like you love it. Like, don't you just feel the same way? Like you hate it, but you love it at the same time?
Yeah, absolutely true. Yeah.
It feels like a long process sometimes, doesn't it?
Oh, mate, yeah. We always had like, and I think Darren is the same. We always had like preparations of 12 to 16 weeks. You know what I mean? And being in preparation for such a long time, your life is different than a lot of people. And last week on Super Saturday, we had Jonas on in
Swedish
KRT.
guy, right?
Yeah, Swedish guy, and he had some really wise words. You know what I mean? He said some really good things that really gave away what it's like to be an elite fighter, or at least go for a goal. And I've hated so many times of the training. I hated so many times of not being able to do all I wanted to do, but then the reward is wicked, although it was only a plastic cup or a metal cup.
Yeah, but it's the title, I suppose, the recognition, the achievement, and it's all about self-worth sometimes, because like you say, I mean, some of the trophies have been great and some of them have been absolutely rubbish. And to your point as well, we've gone to some tournaments that have been absolutely terribly run, and some of them are amazing. I mean, the one in Hungary that me and Wesley were at, I was supposed to be the first fighter on in the day. I've warmed up about 4 times in this tournament, and what they had done originally is put me in against the heavyweight. And then
remember, if you hear Darren work out, he's got this really hard hiss on him. He's like like the hardest sound ever, and everybody in the tournament heard him warm up for like 20 times. And then again, he still wasn't on. Stuff like that.
I think in the end, I was the last fight on in the first day, and I was like, you couldn't have got this more wrong, guys. I was supposed to be the first fight on. You put me in the wrong category for starters. And then, I mean, the tournament was a good result in the end for me, but the running of it was terrible.
For me,
what are the best Kyokushin fights you've ever seen that like everyone should try? If it's on YouTube, they should watch it. What are the best fights that?
This is difficult. I think it depends what you're looking for. There's a lot of different types of fights that you can watch. Like, for example, Peter Schmidt and Kurosawa is.
I was gonna mention that.
It's an incredible fight, and it was. I mean, it's not a fight you'd like to be involved in, but it's an incredible fight.
I think if in that one fight there was like 1,000 low kicks or something, and these guys battered each other.
It's non-stop as well. It's just absolutely manic. And then I guess there's loads more.
I really like there's a lot of great and legendary fights. If you look at if you're more looking for like technical fights, you gotta watch. You gotta look up Gary O'Neill. Oh
my God! You know what's funny? I was last week years old when Mo said, "You don't even know who the fuck Gary O'Neill is." He's like, and he's just railing on me ever since. And he's like sending me videos. He's like, learn your history.
His style was amazing. And he's had some legendary fights as well. And then there's like a lot of, I think I think that the Kurosawa Smith fight is probably one of the biggest wars ever fought. Yeah, and Mick Thompson versus what's his name again? The IQ one. The Matsui. Yeah. So there was I'm not even sure. I've seen it on DVD. I'm not sure if it's on, but it's like that was a brutal fight, and eventually it's like a very controversial fight as well, right?
Yeah.
Where he Mick Thompson actually beat it Matsui, and he actually scored like maybe 1 or 2 Wazaris against him, but he didn't get it. And then
he should have got boards, and then I think and then it was 5.
Like after the 12th or so extension, it's like they really took everything out of it. He got a Wazari against him by Matsui, which was a beautiful kick. But the thing is, you when you see this fight, you only see Matsui doing the Mawashigiri against Mick Thompson. But then there was a lot of controversy there. That was a really good fight as well. I really recall that fight as one of the greats.
And it's probably just touching on Mick Thompson, in '84 he had 5 extensions against Nakamura, the eventual winner, and then in '87 he had 5 extensions against Matsui. Now fights don't ever go that long. They're actually only scheduled for like maybe 3 rounds, maybe 4 rounds.
Maximum of 4 rounds.
And in Japan as well, they because there's so many competitors in the tournament, they normally give like really quick decisions in the early rounds. Like after 3 minutes there's a decision, 3 minutes, and then 2 minutes maybe, and then someone's always winning on weight or boards at that point. But to go 5 extensions.
Yeah,
you've got to have some fitness in you for starters, and then bearing in mind this was like the fifth or sixth fight.
Yeah, was it semi-finals or?
It was the semi-finals. Yeah,
semi-final. So this probably the 6th fight, because with the final in there, it's 7 fights.
7 fights, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
6 fights to then go 5 extensions, effectively 6 rounds. Mate, that's mustard.
Yeah.
I mean, Mick and Matsui were incredible fighters.
Amazing,
incredible fighters.
And I'm recalling this as well. It's the Nick Costa knockout.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, mate. That's kind of the probably the most famous knockout. I would say. It was the first. It was the first ever foreigner to knock out a Japanese fighter.
That must have been big. I mean, like the earth must have the sun must have come to the earth for Japan, basically.
We had Nick DaCosta in the show in KRT, and when we have a guest on Super Saturday, we like to do a little Q&A. It's like not a full podcast, but we like to do a little Q&A. And then we talked about this knockout, and he actually felt sorry for he had a bad feeling about this, because he knew like in Bushido code and samurai code, he knew what this meant for the guy. So he actually felt sorry. I've never felt sorry for a knockout. I'm a bastard, you know. I had quite a few.
I guess that's where the anti-hero comes in, right?
Say, hey, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, man. You know what you're doing when you step on that tatami.
Yeah, true that, you know. But it's like the way he talks about this, it was really, really big respect for Nick DaCosta as well. And he that was amazing, and yeah, that was one crazy fight as well. Really technical from his side. The Japanese like doing the proper Japanese style, running forward, going in there really, really hard. That was a really good style of technical fighting, and why that is smarter than going for a war. Yeah,
and it was just out of nowhere as well. If you haven't seen the kick, you got to watch it. It's on YouTube. Check it out. He just literally, he's standing there, and then the fight restarts. It's like, and honestly, you know, some of those kicks, you hear like the boom, and you see the impact. On this kick, it literally looked like it waves in front of the guy's face.
Yeah,
it was that hard, so fast. It just goes like this, and then the guy's like,
he was out. The second he got connected, he was
gone before his eyes had even rolled back. You know, it was incredible.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, the Michel Waddell and Ademir da Costa was a good fight as well in '87. It sounds like we're stuck in the '87 eras, but then you look at Gary O'Neill against the likes of Francisco Filio, Kazumi. Then there's Ryan Ashima. And there's just so many.
If we talk about, like, there was not one fight, but there was like Mad Max Dedic, Russian Max.
Guys, that guy's wild. Oh my God. You want to talk about Russians? Let's go to Russia. There's Max, and then there's Darman, then there's Emerenko. There's I can name a curb. For those who are Russian listeners, I just want to say, if I don't mention this legend, I am sorry, but you guys have too many legends. So yes.
Yeah, but if you think about Max, there was a tournament, he was like in I think he came up at 98, 99 in like the wider public. And there was a European tournament in 2001. This was in Berlin, in Germany. I was there. I was 11 years old. So I was sitting there screaming for René Stichter, screaming for, everybody over there. And then Max Dedic was there, and he won the Oyama Cup in Holland. I think 99 or 2000. I have a picture of that. This circulating on Facebook and stuff like that. But he was there, and every fight he blasted everybody. He was on the mat for 2 minutes in total. And he had 5 fights, or maybe 5 or 6 fights. He was a total of 2 minutes. The guy, man, was what a machine gun.
These Russians are Terminators. They really are. Like, it doesn't make, and it's like, I say that respectfully. It's like, and you know what's funny? It's like so funny because it's one thing to get the Japanese to come down. Because like when I had my last tournament, there was Kancho Fujiwara at the time. So I'm going to butcher the story here a bit. So Mo, please forgive me. Xianrei Cormier, who was also there in this conversation too. So I'm waiting. And so Fujiwara comes up to Mohammed, and, that was Royama. He was under Kancho Royama before he started his own org. So Fujiwara comes up to Mohammed. He's like, so you are Canada's Mohammed Chick. So we've heard a lot about you. And then one of his champions, he's like, we couldn't make this fight happen when you were with IKO, but we're glad we can make this happen now. And Mo was like, he's like, I hope you're ready. And Mo, typical Mo, like samurai, like killer, like Gegard Mousasi mode. He's like, yep. He's like, bring him on November. He's like, I'll be ready. Unfortunately, it didn't happen because of like circumstances and whatnot. But man, like it's like the Japanese is one thing, but then when it was also being told that the Degeki that was supposed to happen before COVID, there were some Russians that were supposed to come, and that was going to probably wake up like the beast in Mo to come out, because he wants a big tournament. I mean,
yeah.
That's the thing. And those Russians, man, they come. It's like there's like that Rocky Four-ness to them, where like they meet Ivan Drago for the first time, and it's like everyone's like, oh my God.
It's a very funny thing about the Russians, because they always have like this kind of like this aura against, around them, like they're untouchable or they're not nice people and stuff like that. But when you actually meet them, we got a few friends from Russia, especially like the Yamburg team.
Yamburg team is great.
These guys are crazy, and but the thing is, they just don't speak English. You know what I mean? They just a lot of them, they just really have the language barrier. And obviously, when you fight professionally and you get paid to fight, like Darren and myself, we don't get paid to fight. We don't get paid for karate. We love the game. We love what we do, and it would be pretty good to get paid, to be fair, but we don't. And then it's something different. These guys do this day in, day out. They work for this. They fight, and when they fight you, you're just you're their payday. So they gotta eat.
It's like watching Apollo. It's like watching Apollo Creed. Well, you're like Apollo Creed, and it's like they're in there. It's like, and you're like, fuck. That's the thing with the Russians. But you know what? There are a few that can really stand toe to toe with them. Like, and that's the thing. Mo did it. He has the story about fighting Darman. How do you say his last name again? Sadanos.
Zadfokasov.
Yeah. Fought Darman. I mean, to fight Darman, I mean, that says something. Whether you win or lose, I mean, there's a lot of people like, there are a lot of heavyweights out there that, as I said, there's 3 heavyweights in Canada that garner the respect when you mention their names. As mentioned, they're Mick Cadero, Vincent Michaud, and Mohammed Chick. There's a few others. I'm not impressed by them because they only had one fight in Japan. Until you fought a Russian, until you fought an Iranian, or you fought Europeans, you can't say you're up there with the best, especially the Russians. Like, you have to fight at least one Russian to say, you know what, like, yeah. That's just my opinion. But
I mean, there's such a wealth of experience and a massive pedigree of fighters across the world. And it is massive contributions from a lot of people. But I think it's even more difficult now to say that you're just fighting in your own organization all the time. You know, how good are you really? You know, if you don't spread your wings a little bit, fighting some other organizations, the referees aren't necessarily on your side. You know, and it's difficult, and it's an interesting transition sometimes in the style of fighting that different organizations actually adopt. It's all Kyokushin. Yeah. They fight differently within the different organizations.
Although there are like a few people who would stand out still, even if they wouldn't fight in their own organization. Look at Valery Dimitrov. Look at Alejandro Navarro. If you know these guys,
Iwerton, Teixeira, Andrews Nakahara.
Navarro is amazing as well. We haven't even talked about him, but he's
incredible. I mean, he's amazing.
Like, you guys want to hear something crazy?
Fighting and still winning. He's incredible.
Wicked. Yeah, he's really cool. But if you look at these guys would stand out in any organization. You know what I mean? If you look at Dimitrov, I'm sure he would have won tournaments like in any organization. You know what I mean? In any organization. The guy is like something different. Navarro, he would win in any organization. You know, Darren and myself, we fought in a lot of organizations except for Akio 1, but I think this is the way. If they're still up for it, you know. No, but if this is really important, you know, to spread your wings and think about the what's on the next side. You can be a European champion in a lot of organizations, but you can really think about how good you are, or really measure yourself of how good you are, of how good you've been doing. If you look outside of the organizations you're in.
Yeah, I mean, of
very
course,
true.
Support your own organization and stuff, but nowadays there's so many tournaments around and things like that. There's a lot of options. I mean, when I started fighting, for example, we didn't have the option of fighting in Japan in early 2000s. All the time that I was fighting all the time that I was fighting, I think there was only 2 IFK Europeans, for example, and that's just the way it worked out. You know, I was fortunate to fight in a lot of world tournaments and a lot of different organizations, but I only had the actual 2 IFK tournaments, maybe a third.
There was a 01, 07 in Samara.
That's the one I
15. Yeah, 2015 was in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
And there was going to be 2020.
So I mean, they were a bit sporadic there. We was always really on it with the world tournament, so to speak, but for some reason Europeans just didn't materialize. What Wesley says is true. You know, I mean, there's a lot of organizations out there and different ways to test yourselves as a fighter, and it's a great place to start off now, because you've got so many options. You know, go here, maybe I'll do a little tournament here, get ready for a big tournament here. You know, whereas, I mean, if you go back to like the 80s, there was only probably a few tournaments in the year, period.
Yeah. There was a national tournament in a lot of countries. You maybe go to like an international tournament, which was probably one of their national tournaments. And then you had like the Europeans and the World Championships. And the World Championship was only every 4 years. A lot has changed, and I think for the good, to be fair. I think
a lot has changed for the good, and a lot has changed for the bad. You know, obviously there was a division there across organisations for a long time, and I think a lot of people are working together and a little bit harmonious in the fact of you can come here and we can go there, and you know, I think to be honest, I think maybe the 05 World Tournament in the IFK was a bit of a bridging point, because we had a lot of Yeah. I mean, IFK has always been open, and that's the great thing about it. We've always been open to a lot of organisations fighting, but in '05 particularly, we had a lot of fighters come from Kyokushinkan, Royama, and obviously Hanshi and Royama have a good relationship anyway, and it materialised into a.
I think this was probably the start of when the '09 in Hungary, the All World Championship was made.
Absolutely, you had Timir Gatchev come over, and he actually won the heavyweights.
Rashidov,
destroyed everybody in the middleweights. I mean, that fight was something else as well. I mean, this guy could spin around and spin around again, and then do an axe kick and then spin around again. I mean, it's incredible.
If you talk about Jansen, he's creating some killers now as well. He's not only a great fighter, he's also a great coach as well. He's got a few juniors who are scary, but he looked scary.
Which country is
Russian.
he from?
Russian.
So
and his name is
triple world champ. I can't remember now.
Yeah, triple world champ is Shamsuddin Abdurashidov, and this guy, he looked like a serial killer as well.
Yeah,
I remember the jokes we had about him. You didn't want to see him like he was. He got hit by Zavarov, a guy who Darren fought, like a lightweight Russian guy, and Gastashev, the heavyweight Russian guy from Cannes. They were warming him up, and he got beaten by them harder in the warm up. Then he got beaten in the fighting area. That guy was something special.
He was so explosive, so quick. And at the time as well, his style was so unique. And rumors have it that he came from a non-contact background in karate, which is why his style was so explosive.
Especially for a Russian, because like the Russians had like in the 90s and the early 2000s, they had this very typical style of fighting, and the only one I can recall who was different was Oleg Florin, the 97 world champion, lightweight, amazing fighter. But he was the only one who had a different style, but was still a Russian style. And then Abdurashidov came into the scene, and he was something else. He was so good.
And it was really difficult for people to figure him out because he was just so different to everybody else's style. I mean, he was
so
really.
Was he like the style bender, like in MMA for Kyokushin back in his day, like where like no one really knew what to expect from him because it was like a weird, like not textbook style?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. He did things people have never seen from at least never seen from Russians or Eastern Europeans, because he had the strength as well. You know, he had the Russian power, the Eastern European. He was like punching holes into people, and then not only doing that, but doing double spins and like standing this close, making a Margiri to the face, and then a Shiramawashi with the same leg. And we were like, wait, rewind, please. Did we see this? Probably was it his right leg? You know, that was what happened. You know what I mean? And he was really good.
Was he from like the Dagestan, Chechnya side, or he was like Russian? Because you know there's two sides to Russia, basically.
I think it was the Islamic part of Russian, so the Dagestani side.
Killers, killers.
I'm not sure.
There are so many killers from that part, like Kurbanov. I mean, you know, Kurbanov has done such a good job of like really his influence, whether he's with IKO or not, like. Leshy is a guy that like, oh my God, like, you know, when you're in the presence of him, like I've heard stories, like very nice guy.
Just absolutely ruthless, that man.
Yeah.
Ruthless.
He's in Holland quite a few times. He comes to Holland normally quite a few times. He's got some, with the kickboxers. Yeah, he's got a good relationship with the Colosseum gym, and those are big guys in Holland. And he was like, a few years, I'm really envious on this. My mother went on a Tuesday night. She went to a kebab shop and stuff like that on a Tuesday night, like in nearby Rotterdam. And she's like, "Hold on, Wes. Here's a picture. Do you know who this guy is? Because he looks really familiar." She sends a picture of fucking Lechi Kurbanov in a kebab store. I was like, "That's Lechi Kurbanov. You need to go to him and ask if you can get on a picture with him because." This is not happening, you know, like in regular day style life. She just saw him, and so apparently he's off. He's like a few times a year in Holland. But he's a really nice guy as well. A killer in the mat, ruthless, as Darren said, ruthless.
Fought Ayrton Teixeira, another ruthless killer from Brazil. Like the Brazilian guys too. I mean, I've had I'm kind of friendly with Andrews Nakahara, another one who's very good. Andrews is, you guys should really get him on KRT because he's doing a lot of good things with Brazil. I can try to help make that happen. If anything.
That'd be pretty good.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I actually saw Andrews Nakahara fight in Japan. I think it was Yeah. I think.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it was 03.
Crafty. So crafty.
Yeah.
He's a crafty bugger.
It was either 03 or 07, but I think he was the middleweight world champion at the time when he went to, so it might have been 07 thinking about it. Yeah, he was good. And then he went into didn't he go to MMA as well and do a little bit of that?
He's now back to Kyokushin, I think now, because he had his fun in MMA. I mean, I'm sure he'll come back eventually if he wants to, but he doesn't need to. Like he's successful with what he does in Brazil, and same with Ewerton too. Like Ewerton's in Japan. Ewerton fought K1. He fought Overeem. Okay, like you know what? Like if you fought Alistair Overeem in K1, you're pretty legit.
That was a really, really hard knockout though with the knee. He got KO'd very hard. But
hey,
I like Everton as a Kyokushin fighter, but in K1, I remember that fight and I was like, wow, I was silent by that. Have you seen? He did MMA as well, and Lecce did MMA as well.
Lecce did MMA.
Yeah, they weren't that successful in that. In all fairness, they the thing is, you gotta be of a specific or like different style if you can really adjust yourself into the kickboxing. I think probably the one who did it best in that sort of senses was Faitosa and Fideo. Those they probably did the best job, and Andy Huck, but he was really still relying on a lot of his kicks. His boxing wasn't.
No, and Andy Hug was just he was just a natural warrior. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
if you look at like the old fights, his boxing was not good.
No, he got knocked out hard a couple of times. Andy Hug.
Yeah. Against Ernesto Host as well. He knocked him out.
What's Ernesto doing? What's
like that? Didn't he? He was hand out.
Like, really weird hook, but he KO'd him. Yeah.
This guy must be so strong. Filio. I've heard some rumors about how strong he is, but he must be so strong. I mean, to just go like this, and that's all it looks like, and you knock out Andy Hug.
Yeah,
it's pretty legit.
The power in his body. I think Filio really understood his body, like really good.
Yeah.
Because he was very big, but such a natural fighter as well. It's really enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
It really is. What's the future for KRT? What do you guys plan to do with it, like as moving forward, since it's picking up so much steam?
Well, I've got a film coming out for sure.
Yeah. Darren Van Dam and
Wesley Lundgren.
Wesley Lundgren. Yeah, that's pretty good. That means I got the looks on me.
Yeah.
No. What's the future for KRT? We just keep going, and we have a lot of fun. And we always say to each other, it's always never a chore, always a pleasure to do. And we would like to do this, make this this whole Zoom stuff, and then the online stuff. We would like to go physical. You know what I mean? So if there is a possibility to organize a camp. We would definitely love to organize a camp. We had some nice ideas on how to make these camps special, and I think we got a few good ideas just to do it different than a normal summer camp or just a fighting camp and stuff like that. But I think that's a dream for us. Ain't that right, Darren?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, we really enjoyed and we do enjoy online, and we will continue it for sure in any capacity. But yeah, I mean, I think maybe to reward everybody as well, to actually say, hey, look, really appreciate your support. We'd like to put on on an event, like a weekend course or a camp. We was actually talking about it the other day, weren't we, about maybe trying to build some like funds up, to kind of, because once we come out of this situation anyway, we understand the world is probably not going to be the same. And if we could support the finances a little bit off of that, a little bit easier, to make it easier for people to come across, then it would be fantastic, because it's about sharing the reward, sharing the environment, sharing the experience with people. You know, it's great if people come over and they're able to fund themselves, fantastic. But if we can also give a little bit back to people and say, look, we're going to try and support the costs of this a little bit. And, you know, we were trying to flirt some ideas on how we manage that for the future, because we don't know when it's going to be, but it's definitely something we want to go
And
ahead.
then if you think about what the reason is we do this, the reason we do this is we are really, really good friends. We really love karate at Kyokushin in particular. We really love the game. We really love to teach and give our vision, because we don't say we're the best in what we do. We just share the vision we have, and we try to be as versatile as possible. And it started off with, we teach some sessions together in Holland. We teach together on the summer camp in Hungary by Zoltsiga, and that's what we'd like to do. We just love to teach, to meet new people, to share our ideas, our vision, our dream of Kyokushin to a lot of people. And if this is in Holland, in the UK, or anybody asks us to come over, we would love to. So yeah, that's the dream.
Bahamas, absolutely down for it, 100%. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm a little less comfortable going to Alaska, North Pole, South Pole. It's really cold stuff like that.
Come to Canada. Well, Terry said Scott's from Alaska, but I mean, he's from Canada. Come to Canada. Yeah, come. It's -40 right now. Not really, but
yeah. So if we come, we'd like to come out. If someone asks us to come to Canada to teach, please do this in summertime.
Why don't you go to Yekaterinburg in January and let me know how that is.
We've been to Siberia for the Yamber Cup twice, and this was in Novy and this was 60 kilometers from the Arctic boundaries, where the sun shines 24 hours a day. I think I remember it was like 25 or 30 degrees in Moscow, and we went to Yamberg to Novy, and it was like -13. So think about the difference there.
It's just like an ice desert up there, isn't it? It's just there's no horizon. It's a different place.
We had the sayonara there, which was terrific. To be fair, we came out. We didn't know what time it was. We were a little bit boozed up, stuff like that. And then we were like looking over to the sky. It was like, oh my god, did we party all night? It was 4 o'clock at night. It was like still bright daylight.
Nice. All right, because where can everyone catch you guys on all social media platforms?
So they can find us on all of them individually or via KRT. So we're on Facebook, obviously Darren Stringer and Wesley Jansen. We've got KRT Tips and Tricks on Facebook as well. Wesley's dojo is Hikori Mayo and mine is Budo Kyokushinkai. So there's a few platforms there. Exactly the same on Instagram, to be fair. I'm Stringer D1 on Insta, and Wes is Wes G. That's just it, isn't it? Wes G.
Yeah, Wesje 90. So Wesje 90. But if you find Wesley Jansen or just Wesley Karate, you will probably find it.
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, so we're on that, and then we're on KRT Tips and Tricks on TikTok.
Yeah, we've got an Instagram for KRT as well.
Yes.
So we got the Budo and the Hikori Mayo Instagram, and also the KRT Tips and Tricks Instagram, which we like to always share all of our stuff. So when we share a video, you will probably see us 12 times, which is good. Which is really good.
Creating awareness. And
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like
and if anyone ever wants to, if you're a Kyokushin, you want to connect with me, Drew Michaels on Facebook, Instagram, Drew Nomad 7, and the Drew Experience Pod on IG. I mean, I'm pretty challenged with technology, and YouTube channel, the Drew Experience Podcast. So I'm figuring it out. Okay, one step at a time. I'm slow with this stuff, but I'm learning. Okay, so yeah.
We do have a YouTube channel as well. Actually, I forgot about that.
What's the YouTube channel? Yeah, mention it, because like I want people to subscribe to it.
KRT tips and tricks. So we upload all of the lessons at the moment. Absolutely all of them. The full lessons. There's probably hundreds on there by now. Sorry about that.
Probably, yeah.
If you ever want to revisit any of them, then you can just play them, watch them, leave some feedback. Obviously, share them around. We're there. Ask any questions.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. We also bring back and I'd like to say that as well. We also bring back the Super Saturdays. We started off with this again. We bring back a special guest in our Super Saturday sessions once a month. We had Jonas Rosin from Sweden, awesome guy.
Yep.
And the next one is Jean-Paul Jacot, JP Jacot from France, heavyweight, like he's not really upcoming, to be fair, because he's won quite a fair. He's still quite a young guy, and he's amazing, really like a great human being, and he's going to teach with us. And we got a nice guest for March already, and we're looking for a nice guest for April already, because probably the lockdown is going to take a while, and we just try to be, as we said, as versatile as we can, and bring a lot of people in karate and just the thing we love, Kyokushin.
Yeah.
I think off the record, I think I have a few guests of April. I think I can recommend to you off the record though. So
nice.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Keep it as a surprise for people.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, once again, this episode will be on all audio platforms. So when you see it, please like, share, subscribe, follow them, follow me. We're just going to raise the bar with Kyokushin. Please follow Kyokushin Shuffle too. Marshall Way blog, Terry Burkett's channel, Terry Burkett Straight Talk with Scott Heaney. Yeah, just like these are like, we're kind of working all together indirectly, even though we're on different sides of the pond. It doesn't matter. We all live, breathe, and die with Kyokushin. So yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Everything will be up within 24 hours.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Appreciate all the hard work you're doing as well, Drew. Well done.
Thanks a lot for having us.
Anytime.